Okay, so I've added more aspects to this. I've changed up the model. Initially, it was simpler with just an array of strings. Now I return an array of media, or a type alias media, which is an array of media. And I have a closure that returns all of these. So media objects basically have name, URL, and a video title. So as you can see, Mike Tyson, blah 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 blah. This is all in the model, right? And public static func course. And then I have a networking service. Um this networking service, of course, which is what I will I don't know. Actually, I will take all of this out of here, and I will move it into my networking service. Okay, and so X here, and this will go into my networking service, and it won't be static. So public class, final class networking, all final class means is that that it means that it cannot be, this is an object oriented reference, means that it cannot be, you can't inherit it from it, and you can't extend it. You know, this is it right here. And so yeah. And so yeah, so this networking service returns this, all of this, and we're going to do this as well. I'm going to say, I'm going to make this a God, going to make all this shared, um a singleton. It makes a singleton, meaning that a singleton only has one instance, and everything works with the same instance, period. Okay. So networking service dot shared dot media, or dot shared actually. So I call this fetch array, right? And instead of, something, instead of returning this, I could do this. Mhm. Yeah, what I'm going to do is this. Get rid of this, all of this, right? We have none of that, and um I'm going to say var media output, var media output is of type media, and it equals an empty array of media. Of course, I could do this as well, right? Actually, we don't even need this type alias anymore. It's useless. Right? It's useless. So we can do this, and then when I call this, so right now it's empty. When I call this, I set um self dot media output dot media Media output. So come on, Jesus, what are you doing? Var self.media output equals instance of media output cannot be used on type networking service. Instance media. Hold on for a second. Okay, so yeah, I went ahead and just redone some of this. Why is this acting up? Main dot a sync. Okay, failed to produce diagnostic expression. Hold on. Okay. So I just came back here and I did this final class networking service. It's shared. I have a closure. This closure returns an array of media. Okay. So yeah. So let's go back to the controllers. List of options view controller. Of course, this is right here, my array, but instead of that, I will say networking service dot shared dot um so yes, I had to come back here and I had static funk right here. Jesus Christ. Shared dot fetch, and then here's this, and then media, right? And I'm not gonna do this, right? Get rid of that. Okay, and actually, let me take this right here. X, my array, var, my array is of type an empty array of media. Okay, and then on viewed load, I'm going to say dispatch queue dot main dot async my array or something self dot my array equals media. Okay. And I'm Jesus Christ. I know earlier on in this series I talked about weak self. I'm gonna again reiterate because yeah, you declare this is weak self because sometimes you'll need this to be optional, um, or this or self has to be unwrapped because sometimes it may not be there. It's pretty complicated. We'll put it like this: it has to be set as weak so that it can possibly be nil, so that when it's not being used, this array can be deinitialized or deallocated from memory. So in order to safely unwrap it, you can say, well, you can also do it like this, right? It's optional. Yeah. You also use if let or guard let statements as well. Okay. Dispatch queue dot main dot async, and we can also say self dot table view dot reload data. Of course, I'm going to show you a different way to do this using MVVM. This is a hard, fast solution to this. And yeah, let's see what's going on here. Index path dot row dot uh dot video title. Okay, so and we should present these up. They're Mike Tyson and Jimmy Clark, Javante Davis, Rolando Romero, Devin Haney, episode 14, and all this other stuff. So now what I want to do is to be able to select one of these and send it over to this controller. So again, right here with the list of options controller. I'm gonna cover this at some point using, well, I did cover this at some point. So I'm gonna save this locally, the source control to get uh changed the model and what is displayed in the table view. Okay, so now this is done. Let's go ahead and so we have that done. Okay, so now we're here. Let's go to list of options, video control, view controller, where the table view is, and we'll look in where we have these different delegate methods, hyperroid index, number of rows and sections, self-roid index path. Let's add one. And we'll add one called did select, and you see how the auto complete is helping us. Did select row at. Boom, we have one. Okay, so what we want to do is, first of all, let's go ahead and see if we can dismiss, right? Start dismissing some of these. Dismiss, true, right? So let me go here. All right, and go to Mike Tyson, or why the next boxer is outsmarting everyone. See how I basically dismissed it. Okay. And now let's go ahead and send some information to the other controller, which is easy. First of all, we're going to create a variable for the delegate, right? Because we have a delegate, Boxer Media Delegate, right? So we're gonna do it like this. We're gonna say var delegate is of type what Boxer Media Delegate, and it's optional means that can be nil, right? And we haven't instantiated it, and we're gonna go right back here on the dismiss, and we're gonna say delegates dot where's our delegate dot so what function send media URL. Oh, and by the way, okay, so first of all, URL string. I'm gonna say Boxer media, right? Boxer media should be media. Send media URL. Oh crap. Give me a second. Send media URL Boxer media. And Boxer media should be because we have a list of and stuff right here. My array, right? My array index path dot row. That's what we're passing. Now we'll go back here to display. Again, we should be button pressed. So first of all, when we display this, right? Something we're forgetting. Options table view, options table dot delegates, because that's the property, right? It has a delegate, a property called delegate. Options table view dot delegates equals self. That means that this is the delegate right here. Right? Oh, now we're having a an error. Because why? Because we have to implement the Boxer media delegates right here. So what I'm going to do now is create an extension. Oh crap. Extension on display view controller Boxer media delegate. And it just says that yeah, that this is how you implement a delegate in another object right here. Extension, this object, which is what we're working on. And then Boxer media delegate is implemented, then guess what happens here, right? Protocol stub, boom. Send media URL. And guess what happens? Print. I'm going to show you something. Boxer media dot name and Boxer media dot video title. And watch what happens. Right? So I come here, let's get off of here. And if I click Mike Tyson versus Jimmy Clark, Mike Tyson versus Jimmy Clark. Dynamite David Lopez, Dynamite David Lopez, first round KO. See how it had, I print all these. So it sends information is sent back from the prior controller. Information is sent from the list of options controller to the display controller. To the list of options controller and is sent and printed right here in the display controller. So let's go ahead and make this the new load this URL with a new URL, right? We can do it like this. Web view. Make sure that's what it's called. Web view dot load request, URL request. But let's get guard. We have to unwrap this and put this into a URL request because all we have is a string right now. So the best way to do this without risking setting up code that will crash is to do a guard let statement that will give you your URL request or stop the process. So let's do this, right? Guard let URL equal URL string media boxer media dot URL string let URL request equal URL request dot URL and URL the URL else, oh Jesus, else return. And now I'm gonna say URL request. And this is what loads. Cannot find what? Cannot find URL in scope. Because guard let URL initial optional URL request. So whenever you get this error, not gonna explain all the things, but do like this: as URL request. If it says it's gonna be optional, do as question mark, and then the value type. So now I just passed the boxer media on here. Of course, I have my man Lorenzo Simpson, right? Ryan Garcia, and look at this. I reloaded Mike Tyson, Jimmy Clark sparring. It's because D'Amato.
About how you feel about Mike. What do you mean how I feel about Mike? Well, one sentence, one paragraph, or one.
So yeah. Who's this next level boxer that he's talking about? It is Shakur Stevenson.
And one of boxing's fastest rising stars.
All right. So that's how that works. So now I want you to go ahead and create this. If you have to go back, review this over and over again. Why? Because communicating between objects and classes and structs is something you're going to do over and over again, and you're going to use a protocol delegate method, and you're going to probably going to do something more substantive than just passing a simple object like we did. You know, you're going to have to do some real serious functionality, and but you should become familiar with this, and you have to remember that in this controller where I displayed the video right here, what I did was I create an instance of the object that we present, or the controller that we present, set its delegate to self. That means making this controller the delegate for the options table view controller. That's what it's doing right there. And then at the bottom, I'm implementing the Boxer Media delegate and using that data to load the web view. And in the controller where you're sending the information, you just create an instance of the Boxer Media delegate, or whatever delegate you're going to use. Take that. You're going to implement. Where am I implementing this? Right here. You're going to implement the method or property that's associated with it. Pass that data to it. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Now, I'm going to reiterate. When you start doing MVVM, there's a whole lot less implementation inside the view controllers. So I want you guys to remember that, because I did it this way to help explain protocol delegate communication pattern to you, but this isn't how it's going to go down in the real world. You're going to hear more to MVVM design pattern, and I'm going to show you how to do that. But in the next lesson, we've got to cover right here, we're communicating through protocol delegate. Next, we have to use closures and callbacks, and I'm going to leave it up to you as a developer to understand when using one over the other is appropriate. But you have to be able to do this, because in the real world, you're taking apart other people's code, and that's how it goes. So on to the next.